The tornadoes that roared through the Deep South 6 months ago created heartbreaking scenes of devastation. Many communities feared for their future. But in one town, the biggest employer and iconic American brand took a risk for its workers, and it paid off. It's the kind of story we've been focusing on in our series, Bringing America Back. And ABC's Steve Osunsami brings it to us tonight from Hackleburg, Alabama.
It was bad enough that the tornado tore through Hackleburg, Alabama, killed 26 people, and nearly destroyed this little town. But when it demolished their Wrangler jean factory, it also stole most of their jobs and their last bit of hope. Their iconic blue jeans were found everywhere, as far as 90 miles away. Plant manager Wade Hagedorn escaped from under a table.
The tornado warning came out approximately 3:10, and by 3:30, we were without a building.
They worried their town's largest employer would walk away. So many other businesses here did. Families were left homeless and jobless.
These people must we're all tight up here.
Your family.
Your family.
But in a stunning display of loyalty, Wrangler announced it would rebuild, open a new plant in 2 years, even add 50 new jobs. And in the meanwhile, every worker will be paid and driven 80 long miles each day to an old warehouse where they'll continue to ship those jeans while the new plant is built.
The night that we came down here to announce we were building, I mean, I've been with the company 33 years. I don't think I've had a better day.
The company told us they decided to rebuild this plant because they have a highly trained American workforce here that they just didn't want to lose. Myra Hall has worked for them 33 years.
Wrangler stepped up to the plate. I mean, they took care of us.
Donna Frederick, 15 years at Wrangler.
The roof had come down.
She lost her home and she's rebuilding.
What have you learned from this?
Patience. Patience that I didn't know I had.
She says she'll work there forever for a company that stands by its people and is bringing America back one family at a time. Steve Osunsami, ABC News, Hackleburg, Alabama.
Wait a sec. I found our colors.
We've made the decision.
Great. Let's go get you set up. We need brushes. You should check out our workshops.
Push your color boundaries while staying well within your budget walls.
I want to paint something else.
More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Refresh your home inside or out with Behr Premium Plus Ultra. Interior flat starts at $31.98 a gallon.
The NFL season kicks off tonight in New Jersey with replacement referees on the field and unanswered questions about player safety. In spite of the negative headlines, fans, coaches, and players are ready to get started.
And one of them is Houston's Arian Foster, who's been called the most interesting man in the NFL. So, of course, Jeff Glor recently spent some time with him. Hey there, Jeff.
Hey, Nora, poet, philosopher, and perhaps the best running back in the NFL. Not easy to define Foster. We caught up with him in Houston, and he spoke candidly about what his goals are and what he thinks his new diet can do.
For a player who went undrafted and unwanted out of college, magazine cover stories like this seem almost impossible.
So Sporting News calls you the most interesting man in the NFL.
It's a lot of pressure.
Were people saying that at Tennessee as well?
No. When you're not successful, they call you weird. They call you arrogant. When you have success, it's like you're abstract. You're interesting.
Calling Arian Foster interesting is an understatement. He's a part-time poet, Former philosophy major, and if you check his Twitter feed, aspiring quantum physicist. But 3 years ago, he was just unemployed.
Draft night 2009. You're sitting there and watching 7 rounds go by, and you're not drafted. And you're thinking what?
Initially, I thought, my career was over. I thought, I'm done playing football. Because I didn't know much about undrafted free agents. I thought everybody got drafted. That's how you get into the NFL.
Foster, an Albuquerque native, hooked on with the Houston Texans practice squad and slogged through his first season, mostly riding the bench. Then in 2010, a stunner. In the season's first game, he replaced the team's starting running back and exploded for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns. He went on to lead the league in rushing that season, and he's hardly looked back, topping off every touchdown with his typical namaste bow.
The thing I chase now, I chase history. I want to be the best me that I can be.
The best running back?
Yeah. I think if you're playing a game and you're not trying to be the best that's ever done it, I don't know why you're playing. As a young kid, I was always questioning why.
You were a troublemaker.
I wouldn't call it that. I wouldn't call it. Like I always push.
You tested.
I would test. I would push boundaries all the time in every aspect of my life. And
you still do.
Yeah, I try to.
You're tweeting about quantum physics.
Yeah.
Not a lot of NFL players tweet about quantum physics.
Not a lot of people do, man. That stuff is interesting.
You find it fascinating.
I don't see how it's not fascinating.
This summer, Foster had another surprise, forswearing all animal products in his diet, announcing he'd gone vegan.
When I think football players, I think steak, I think eggs, burgers.
Absolutely.
Your quinoa and beans.
Yeah, kale. Rice. I just kind of felt like it was the most healthy option for me.
You've taken some flack for it.
Absolutely, yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think it's funny. Like nobody cared what I was eating last year, and now everybody's interested.
Foster, who married his college sweetheart last year, they have a daughter together, was mocked last season for posting a picture of his injured hamstring. He believes the new diet improves his body's ability to recover.
Running backs, generally speaking, do not have long careers. There's a narrow window there. Do you think about that?
No, because people are always trying to put hurdles in front of you. There's running backs that do, and there's running backs that don't. It's just, statistically speaking, the average of running backs isn't as high, but I've never considered myself average. So I kind of throw it out of the wayside.
How long do you want to play for?
Until I'm satisfied.
What does that mean?
I'll tell you when I get there.
Foster just signed a $44 million deal in the offseason. His Texans take on the Dolphins in Week 1. Charlie, Nora?
Jeff, interesting guy and great interview.